Today's episode is made possible by viewer contributions from Dan Stewart of North Carolina, Ryan Sanford of Oregon, and Peggy Kimball from Louisiana. Thank you. You're watching The Hermit with Davis Fleetwood. While there were so many things about the State of the Union last night that inspired within me the urge to just end the suspense already and take a flying leap off of a cliff, let's start with something positive, shall we? Obama said, "With all due deference to separation of powers, last week the Supreme Court reversed a century of law that I believe will open the floodgates for special interests, including foreign corporations, to spend without limit in our elections." Oh, yes, he can. As I've said recently, it is more likely that people will choose to take a piss into a gale-force wind rather than visit an election booth on Election Day, given the recent Supreme Court decision. But then Obama hedged. I don't think American elections should be bankrolled by America's most powerful interests, or worse, by foreign entities. They should be decided by American people, and I'd urge Democrats and Republicans to pass a bill that helps to correct some of these problems. Some of the problems? In the vast wasteland of problems embedded in our current election system, a mountain of corruption that is only topped off by the cherry of the recent Supreme Court decision, you have thrown down the gauntlet and suggested that the Congress pass a bill that solves some of these problems? This is just the type of mealy-mouthed mediocrity that assumes, correctly, I believe, although we can argue about the chicken and egg aspect of this, our society's collective masochism. It is just this type of rhetoric that inspired Howard Zinn, who, faced with the prospect of watching Obama give his State of the Union last night, promptly dropped dead of a heart attack to quip, "If the gods had intended us to vote, they would have sent us candidates." But, as any president facing a rapidly decreasing approval rating and the accompanying diminished influence over the silver spoon yahoos running around parading in the Senate will tell you, it's the economy. Stupid. Families across the country are tightening their belts and making tough decisions. The federal government should do the same. We are prepared to freeze government spending for 3 years. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule. The Pentagon, fierce adherents to the philosophy that the best defense is a good offense, will continue to see their budget increase. I mean, has it occurred to anyone that we have to spend so much on our military because of how our military has behaved over the last half-century? And while Obama promised not to turn his back on the uninsured and underinsured Americans, what do you call spending more than 50% of the federal budget on a military? A military whose primary function, it seems, is to uphold, through the unilateral application of lethal force, the American dream. The American dream as articulated by Barack Obama, who said last night, "I will not stand for an America coming in second place." Cue the leather-footed yahoos standing ovation. Chris Matthews said that watching the State of the Union, he forgot, for a minute anyway, that Barack Obama was black, and that is a major accomplishment of this administration, that we have ushered in a post-racial society. Excuse me if I withhold my applause until we can elect a president who will usher in a post-imperialist society. A president who has the Charlie Browns, or the JJ, this is going to be a post-women's movement society, to usher in single-payer health care for all, to slash the bloated, wasteful military budget, and do something, to do anything, to steer our Christian nation off of our path, our self-fulfilling prophetic path with Armageddon. I'm Davis Fleetwood. I stay in so you can go out.